Hello and welcome to the forecast for August 11th until the 17th. My name is Desiree de Lunae, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer. And we're going to dive into some of the tense aspects that we have this week. My goodness, this Mars and Saturn, we're going to have to talk about. It really peaks and it's a little uncomfortable. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me do that real quickly. And please make sure to like, subscribe. That really helps to grow the channel. And also share away if there's anybody you feel will benefit from this information. All right, so let's begin with Monday. We are still in Leo season and we are crossed over the midpoint. So we are going towards the end of summer. I am looking forward to a little less heat for sure. And Leo season is very fun and playful and expressive. So that energy is out in the air. Just do some things that are really enjoyable. Make time for that. And then we have Mercury that is finally direct. So that's a really big change for us. Mercury has been in retrograde for some weeks now, and this is actually the day that it officially goes direct. And here's the thing though, there is a shadow period, and with the shadow period, once this Mercury currently on Monday is at 4 degrees. The shadow period goes until it hits 15 degrees of Leo. Because before, what had happened was when it hit 15 degrees, it retrograded back. So they called this the shadow period. So there's still a little bit of tying up of loose ends, all right? If you've had issues with communication with people, having some misunderstandings with people, we're still in that shadow phase, and that's going to go till the 25th of August. So we're not fully in the clear yet. And this Pluto has not been helping. It has been really aggravating this Mercury retrograde that we've gone through. I mean, have you had any explosive fights or major delays, popped tires, or like gross problems with your schedules, missing things, forgetting about things? Yeah. So that Pluto brings a lot of intensity, a lot of extra energy that we didn't really need to add to Mercury retrograde, plus the Mercury combust. So understand that we're on the on the upward swing of this. Things are going to get better in terms of communication, in terms of conversation, in terms of thinking too, more clear thinking. We still have challenges in terms of decision making due to Mars, but we'll touch on that in a second. So thankfully, though, we are direct, and give it till August 25th and you're going to be free and clear. Now, we do have, though, Mercury in Leo. And so remember, this is about speaking from the heart. So that's something that we want to remember to do in this season while Mercury is in Leo and Sun's in Leo, is making sure that we are being honest, that we are being direct, we are expressing things, we are not holding it in. And that's the thing with Pluto. Pluto does not like lies. Pluto wants truth, and it's going to really, in a way, encourage us to speak our truth and speak from our heart as well. So that is one benefit of Pluto, is that it's making us not beat around the bush, especially when we have to have some harder conversations. And this whole week, though, let me tell you, wow, it's going to be interesting in terms of the types of conversations that we do have. We're having some raw, real, honest, vulnerable ones for sure. All right, now we do have a really cool thing happening in the background. Is we've got this Jupiter and Venus conjunct. Look, they're at the exact same degree. 13 degrees, 13 degrees of Cancer. And these two are happy in Cancer. They're happy as a clam, okay? And this is going to bring so much just warmth and abundance and richness and positivity into this sector of our chart. So let me know down in the comments below, if you look at your chart, like, where is Cancer in your chart? What house is it over? Like in this situation, it's in the 11th house. And in the 11th house, this means friendships. This means community. So in this situation, this person would have a lot of luck and abundance in their social circles, for example. A lot of, good-hearted feelings, a lot of, generosity and warmth and connection and growth, and like a lot of cultivating of really rich relationships would be how this would manifest in this chart. That's just to give you an idea. So great abundance, great luck, and just, a lot of good vibes and a lot of good jujus on this area of all of our charts. Okay, so we also have Moon here in Pisces, which is in trine, and it's talking to this. So the Moon, which is our emotions, our feelings, just our mood in general, it's directly communicating to everything I just talked about with Jupiter and Venus, and Jupiter rules Pisces. So the Moon is just delighted right now. This would be a really good time to be with people, of course, absolutely, really solid, meaningful, fruitful connections. Also a great time to embark on, spiritual practices, spiritual rituals that you have, doing things that are more reflective and yin in nature, maybe like playing around with your creativity, and also things that help to cultivate your intuition, meditation. Those are all really great things for a Moon in Pisces here. All right. Now we do have to talk about this elephant in the room. This is as far as astrologers are concerned, this is Mars over here in Libra. It just came into here on, let me see, the 6th of August. So it did go in the 6th of August. And this is not a happy placement for Libra. Libra is in detriment. I'm sorry, Mars is in detriment in Libra. That's what I mean. And so Mars, this is the opposite of where Mars wants to be. Mars is a planet that deals with action, assertion, independence, drive, desires. It's very primal. It's very young, right? And then Libra is about togetherness and collaboration and peace and love and harmony. So as you can see, they're kind of in conflict with one another. And so Mars is a bit restrained. It's not able to just fully express as it likes to. So what we see with Mars in Libra is, rather than being super independent, and solo and just wanting to go fast and do it on their own, well, Mars in Libra is going to now, all right, let's bring other people along. It will go more towards collaboration. It tends to compromise more rather than just like fighting for what it wants. So it is more considerate of others. Yes, it could be a bit more passive aggressive because the aggression is not, just outwardly expressing so easily. It also struggles with indecisiveness. Now, Libra really cares about everyone's perspective and everyone's take, and also very good at weighing all the options. Mars will decide immediately based on instinct what it wants, but here it's hindered in that way because the Libra energy is making Mars go feel out all the different things, go gather more data and facts. And so in the process of doing that, like, wow, that looks like a great option. So does that one. And so does that one. And so when everything seems like a great option, you can fight for any of these options. Then there is this kind of, what do I choose? And then kind of frozen and not being able to choose because they all sound great, or, really considering maybe 2 or 3 when before it would have easily just chosen 1. So indecisiveness is going to be around for a bit, and that is until September 25th. Now, when Mars leaves Libra and goes into Scorpio, now we're talking a totally different game. Talk about extreme decisiveness, okay? Extreme laser-like focus. And we'll talk about that later, but just know that that's around. But to compound this issue, we have this opposition to Saturn and Neptune. Now, this will leave by the 17th, okay? So it's not around forever. So by the end of this week, that pressure point will release. But until the 17th, and we're feeling it still pretty intensely. You know, they're only like 181 degrees from each other. It's in opposition. We have this planet that likes action, that likes to do, like now. And then we have Saturn that slows things down, okay? And Saturn is not even strong here. I mean, both of these are pretty compromised. Mars does not like to be in Libra, and Saturn doesn't like to be in Aries either. So we have 2 planets that are fighting each other, yet they're both weakened at the same time, because Saturn is in its fall in Aries and Mars is in its detriment in Libra. So further, just in a stuck place, because Saturn, its usual response is no. Its usual response is problems and obstacles. And with it being weak, it might create more problems and more obstacles. And then Neptune brings confusion and illusion and delusion and just not grounded in reality. And so even further, like compounding this lack of clarity, which then leads to lack of decisiveness. So it's rough this week, okay? It's rough this week. Like, I would refrain. I know we're out of Mercury retrograde, but we got all this going on too. So I would really just still be in the investigative side. If you are trying to make a major decision on anything, kind of pause. Hold on for a minute, okay? Just hold on for a minute. And, you know, like I said, September 25th, it's going to clear out. But if you can just wait through this week, after this week, you're going to have a lot more lightness around this. And then, yeah, that's the other thing, is that the 25th, I believe, is also when Mercury gets out of shadow too. Oh, so August 25th, that'll be another point where you're going to feel a lot more clear. And then September 25th, when Mars leaves Libra, even more so. But this next week is the worst of it. So please be patient. Okay, please be patient. Okay, so with that being said, we also have some other cool things happening in the background. We do have this grand trine here. Look at this, Uranus and Mars and Pluto. And this is going to be around all week, okay? And this is the change maker up here. So even though we may personally not feel super clear and decisive, guess what? Uranus and Gemini is doing it for us. So follow the lead with what Uranus is doing. You know, there's going to be a lot of external things that shake shit up, whether you're trying to or not. And then Pluto is like a catalyst for all of this change that's happening too. So just ride it out, go with the flow here. Mars, Pluto, and Uranus, that's a pretty powerful combination for them to have a harmonious relationship. Now, granted, Mars is not giving its all because it's in detriment, but it's still giving something, you know. But this is very much so a catalyst for major change and transformation, especially the areas. These are all air signs, right? So this is something you can take a look at, is what is this? What is this where all of the air signs are in your chart? in this situation, this is the second house, the sixth house, and the 10th house. So I'm trying to help you to make it more personal to you, because this energy is affecting all of us, but it's affecting us in different areas of our life. So in this situation, the second house, sixth house, and 10th house are money houses, career houses, work houses. So there will be a lot of change in this person's chart in that topic, in that theme. So if you don't know your chart, there's a link down below on how to look up your birth chart, as well as a link for the houses. And there's a PDF down there, a free PDF, so that you can see what the themes are for each houses and then really customize this forecast to you. So yeah, that's a lot of change happening in that region, in that sector of your chart between all the air signs. And that includes Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Okay, so that's our Monday. Let's take a look at Tuesday. On Tuesday, we have a major change with the moon, all right? And the moon has moved into Aries, but look at it. It is touching Saturn and Neptune. And so what's going to happen is the moon, which is our emotions, our emotional body and our physical body, we're going to be plugged in here to what is happening between Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn and Neptune, as well as Mars. So in a sense, you're going to get every time the moon hits one of these planets like Pluto, Saturn, or Uranus, it's just going to download and connect more into and get insights around the areas of our life that are going through absolute revolutionary change. And so you'll get a better glimpse into it. You're going to be able to hear these planets speak more clearly when the moon is touching them. So what structures, right, need to shift and be rearranged? And then with Moon in Aries, this is the this is the sign of action and doing. And it's talking to Mars too, which is what rules Aries. Mars rules Aries. So you're going to be more proactive on this day with what you do know, with what is clear. Like I said, don't make major moves on things that are unclear. Just move on the things that are. And if that's just a little bit, then you go with that little bit, because this moon is going to crave to, initiate something. It's going to crave to continue something on. Like, it's going to crave to do. It's not going to want to just sit around. So, and with it, like I said, talking to all these planets, you're going to get that insight. You're going to get the scoop on like what you can do. It's not going to be as fuzzy. So love that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have moon going into, it's still in Aries, but it does have new squares here. Moon is in square with Jupiter and Venus. So one of the things we need to be careful here is, being a little too overly optimistic and maybe exaggerating things, and being a little too delusionally positive. Okay, we'll say like that, delusionally positive. So we need to be careful with that, because the moon in Aries can be very impulsive and reckless. So we need to just make sure to just check in so that we don't rashly move forward with something. This can also cause some tension in relationships. Maybe your emotional needs is in conflict with the needs of the people in your life. So there could be a bit of friction there on Wednesday too. All right. So then on Thursday, we have Moon in Taurus. I'm so happy. Granted, it's got some squares, but at least Moon is in a good place while it's dealing with some squares. Moon is exalted in Taurus. This is the happy place for the moon. This is where our emotions feel a bit more steady, a bit more stable, and more peaceful, and really connecting into just the simple pleasures of life. Very, very nice to ground yourself here. Now, it does have a square to Mercury, so there could be a little bit of, issues with misunderstandings and communication, or just kind of like what your head and your heart want seem to be in conflict too. It can cause tension between the head and the heart. It does also have a square to Pluto. So this does bring a lot of emotional intensity and needing to face sometimes our fears, sometimes just, yeah, surrendering into our fears. But here in the body, like with Moon in Taurus, really feel into your body. Take the time to listen to your body, because Pluto might be showing you things that you weren't physically feeling or conscious of, and you were just suppressing and hiding and trying not to connect to. It's very difficult to ignore when you've got a Pluto square moon. And even though it's not a fun transit, it's very enlightening, and it can cause us to finally attend to things that we weren't seeing before, and getting support and help into an area of our life that we didn't even know was an issue. And then it becomes very apparent when Pluto is squaring the moon. We do have, let's see, oh, and it's a T square. So yeah, so this whole, the mind, the body, that whole tension, that connection, it's going to be stimulated. So the way that I see this is that you're going to feel in your body the thoughts you've been having that maybe you didn't realize you were having. Because that's one thing that Pluto does, is it unearths things. It brings things from the underworld into the surface, to the surface, so that we can interact with it, so that we can engage with it, so that we can see it. And how do we do this? We feel it, because the moon is at the apex. So what you want to do is feel it through. You want to feel it through and feel it in your body. And that's the way to address this whole T square that's happening. Okay, so that's Thursday. I know this is like heavy stuff. It's serious stuff. We have Friday. Friday is a bit lighter. I do like that, which, moon is great in Taurus. We love moon in Taurus. And it has some sextiles. Look, it's got a direct sextile to Jupiter, and then it has a sextile also to Venus. So talk about being a bit more hopeful, being a bit more optimistic, and on top of that, this Mars and Saturn, Neptune, it's starting to separate. So we're getting a little bit more ease in that. But this here is going to just bring a lot more joy, a lot more positivity, a lot more hopefulness, and just, warmth and love and nurturing and compassionate type of energy. So this would be another great time to, spend time with the people that you love. Like, it's going to feel really good. And so communication's going to be a little bit better in general. We're starting to see Mercury separate from Pluto a bit. But, yeah, I love this. And there's also this sextile to Mars. So there's just going to be a lot of direct communication here. All right. A lot of direct communication that's happening. But really speaking from your heart, you're speaking so much from your heart. And I think, like, with everything that's going on, I feel like the moon will be able to share and express some of the deeper feelings that she has towards someone. So if, you have a hard time, like giving compliments or just saying, I love you to someone, for example, I'm just giving an example, it's just going to be a lot easier to say those things, access that and say those things and express those things and share it openly, vulnerably with the people that we love. So I feel like Friday is a nice emotional break from what we've been dealing with through the earlier part of the week. Okay. Now, on Saturday, in the beginning of the day, moon's going to be in Taurus, but, late in the afternoon, it's going to eventually go into Gemini. So we kind of have moon straggling between two signs on this day, but it starts at Taurus, feels good, but either way, it's going to be conjuncting Uranus. Okay. Now, Remember, Uranus brings change. It can bring disruptions. It can bring chaos, but I'm not really leaning towards that. It's a liberator, and it's breakthrough energy. So it can absolutely liberate us from just our normal routines. So expect the unexpected, expect something different, expect different ideas to come through that you didn't have before. So be open, be flexible to change, be flexible and open to inspiration as well. And remember, I said, whenever like moon is touching either Uranus or Saturn, Neptune or Pluto, like it's plugged into this mini grand trine here. And every time it hits one of these planets, I feel like it's just boom, like a hit of more clarity and understanding of this next era of our life. You know, I've been talking about a revolution, like internally, right? A reinvention, a reemergence, like this is a new world we're in, and who are we in this new world? And so every time moon hits one of these outer planets, it's plugging in and getting all of that rich information, powerful information. So even though we have this Mars in Libra that can create a little bit of confusion and this opposition, but with the moon touching Uranus, that's like enlightenment. That's flashes of insight, powerful insight. And this overcomes, in my opinion, whatever this Mars is doing for this week. So, very powerful. Keep yourself open to receive. And when you receive that truth and information, be open with integrating it and utilizing it and incorporating it in your life moving forward. Because one thing that is for sure is change and transformation between now and next year. And then on Sunday, we have moon fully in Gemini that whole day, interacting with Uranus that I just talked about. It also has a little trine to Mars too. So that's going to help support more action. Granted, it's not as strong because it's in Libra, but it does give us a little boost here too. So this is also a very like light-hearted sign for the moon to be in. It's very quick, it's very fast. So schedule changes. The way that I see this is Saturday, Sunday, maybe you might have had one idea of a set of plans for the weekend, but be open to your plans being completely, like totally different than what you anticipated from earlier on in the week. But this moon in Gemini, it's playful, it's curious, it likes to be stimulated, it wants to learn, it wants to go socialize. So it's very outward, it's very yang in nature. And with this, touching Uranus, it probably wants some sort of exciting adventure too. So don't have a boring Sunday. Let's not have a boring Sunday. Make Sunday really thrilling and fun and exciting. Don't just lay on the couch all day. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging in there, and do let me know where all this yummy Venus and Jupiter energy is landing in your chart. What house is Cancer in? And I'll let you know how that impacts you. And please do like, subscribe, share away, and we will see you in the next forecast.